Hello. I'm just waiting for everyone to come on here live this evening for our live training around abundance. I'm just going to go and get a glass of water while I wait for you all. Hello. Okay. So, I have you live and I'm ready. Are you ready? Let me know. So tonight's topic is abundance, okay? I want to know what abundance means to you first. What I say different to what you've heard before. So before I get started, I just want to know, what does abundance mean to you? Have you heard the concept before? Have you read any books? Listened to any teachers? What's your understanding of abundance before we get going? Let me know in the comments. I had a little look on Google earlier about the dictionary. Ah, yes. Laura, abundance I see as unlimited. Correct. Okay. And when I say abundance, do you think immediately of money, or do you think of other things which can be seen as unlimited or can be seen as limited? When I looked on Google earlier, for the dictionary definition of abundance, it was words like, let me just tell you. Should have had this ready. Okay, abundance. Meaning. A very large quantity of something. That's all it says in the dictionary. All right. What does it mean to live in abundance? Abundance, definition, and meaning. Abundance of something is a large quantity of it. The area has an abundance of wildlife. Okay, so nature is something that can be seen as abundant. All right. I've lost my tab now. Where are you, Facebook? Where are you? There you are. All right. So, yes. Okay. So, Laura doesn't think of money when you hear the word abundance. What do you think of, Laura? I'm going to go with the nature example for a moment. Okay. There is an abundance in nature. All right. There's an abundance. If you looked in your garden right now, well, not right now, it's very dark right now, but if you looked in your garden tomorrow and looked at your grass, I would challenge you to try and count the blades of grass. And it doesn't matter what size garden you have, how big or small your patch of grass may be, try and count how many blades of grass there are. In the spring, which is just around the corner, try and count the leaves and the blossoms on the trees. So in nature, there's an unlimited abundance of everything. Okay? Think of the amount of water on the planet. The planet is over 70% water, and so is our bodies. Interesting fact. As above, so below, as within, so without. We are basically like a little mirror of nature. And that's partly where the kind of whole ethos of acupuncture came from, was the ancient Chinese observing nature and noticing that the patterns that we see in nature also happen in the body. And so that's a topic for another evening, but we're talking about abundance here for now. So let me just try and see Laura's comment. Got it. I don't really associate it with anything, as it makes me feel disconnected from it. Very interesting. Okay, so the word abundance makes you feel disconnected, or disconnected from abundance in general? Please clarify. Hopefully, after this evening, you won't feel disconnected from it. All right. So, if abundance is the true essence of nature, and we are a mirror of nature, then that implies that abundance is our true nature also. Okay. Now, thinking about the amount of grass that you couldn't count on your lawn, or the leaves that you couldn't count on the trees, I want you to think in those terms for just this moment, and I want you to think of all the people that you know. The abundance of people on this planet. I don't want you to think of the 7 billion people on the planet right now. I just want you to think of the people you know and the people that you have met throughout your entire life. All the people that have come into contact with you throughout your entire life, okay? And I just want you to put a pin in that concept for now. So I just want you to bring to awareness a recognition of all the people that have crossed your path in this lifetime. And then I want you to put a pin in it and just put it to one side for now, because we're going to come back to this concept later. Okay. Now, something about that concept before we move on from it is, if there's that many people in your life that surround you, not you, but general people tend to feel very lonely. Okay. How is it that we can feel so lonely when we are surrounded by people? So this is where abundance starts to come in. It's a mindset, okay? Yes, abundance is a fact. There really is an abundance of people on this planet, and there is an abundance of resources provided by nature in order to sustain all of us. Our mindset, if it is not an abundance mindset, can support us feeling separate, alone, that we don't have everything we need. Now, this is something that's conditioned into us from a very young age. Nobody's at blame. Nobody is at fault. When we were born with a pristine consciousness. And the meditation techniques that we're practicing in here, ultimately, the aim of those techniques is to return us to that original state of pristine consciousness, yet with an adult intellect. So when we were born, we were helpless. We didn't know anything consciously. We knew everything subconsciously, but we didn't know or understand anything consciously. So we were born with this pristine, clear consciousness and a pure innocence. And as life went on, that was conditioned out of us. It never went anywhere, but we started to see life through our filters, which were conditioned layers put onto us by society and the people who raised us, okay? Now, nobody was at fault. They were raised in that environment also, but they were raised a generation before us. And the people that raised them imprinted their beliefs about the world and their limitations and their sense of separate self and lack of resources and fear, all the fear that comes around that, the sense of lack that we don't have enough to survive, all of that programming that came onto the people that raised us was put onto them by the people that were born a generation before them even. And it goes back. Each generation that beliefs that were imprinted upon them by generations before. And when we look back over history, we see that actually there were times in history where it would have been very acceptable, I suppose, to believe in these scarcity mindsets, because there was times on this planet when there was war and there was rationing and there wasn't quite such an awareness of love and compassion and this kind of collaborative sharing of resources. They're starting to come in now. Partly this is starting to come in now. There's two reasons for this. One is that the consciousness of humanity and the planet is raising. So we're starting to see more of the truth. And partly the reason we're able to go into this golden era of raising of consciousness and starting to see the real truth of things is because we're more connected now via the internet. Okay, so truth is more readily available at our fingertips now than it was, say, in generations before, where only people like monks would have access to these universal truths. Now, if something is true, it's true always. And if something is relatively true, then it's a belief. Okay? So the belief in scarcity and lack is only a relative truth based on you, your current circumstances, your conditioning, your upbringing, and how you perceive your life around you in this moment. Okay? Am I making any sense at all? Now, the truth of the matter is that there's nothing but abundance. Okay? But like I say, we were not conditioned to believe in that. And the society that we live in does not set us up for this abundance mindset. An abundance mindset is something that we have to train ourselves into, and it takes a daily practice. Okay, and it's a daily practice of tuning into the truth of what's really here and tuning out the noise of the world that would have us believe otherwise. Okay, now if something is true, like I said, if it's true always. So it was always true. The abundance was always here. It always existed in all time and space, even though the generations that came before didn't have access to those truths or awareness of the truth that was always present. They were just experiencing life through and doing the best they could through what conditioning, beliefs, and resources appeared to be available to them at the time. Okay, now if something is true, it feels light. If something is false or only relatively true, it can feel quite limiting and restricting. Okay, first tool that I want to offer you to use on a moment-to-moment basis, and the more you practice with meditation, the more adept you'll become at using this tool. But it's an intuitive tool to tune in any given moment. Does something feel true, or does it feel constrictive, limiting? Something may seem like a fact, but it's only a relative truth. And that means it's temporary and it's based on external factors and other people's beliefs and other people's interactions with you. All right. So, for example, it might seem like physically at this time you may not seem to have the resources available to you in a physical sense. That's a relative truth. So it seems like a fact, but it's not actually the ultimate truth of the matter. Okay? So it seems like you currently don't have access to the resources you need in any area: love, money, food, relationships, career, opportunities, you name it. But the truth of the matter is there is unlimited abundance. There is unlimited abundance. That is the truth, okay? So I want you to think about something in your life, an area of your life where your mind wouldn't believe if I told you that you're already abundant, because there seems to be evidence to the contrary. And I want you to tune into how the facts make you feel versus, so just notice that first of all. How does it make you feel to think of yourself as limited in this area of your life? How does it make you feel to think of yourself as not having all the resources you need in whatever area of your life? Because what abundance really means to me is access to all of the resources I need to live my purpose. Okay? My purpose is anything that I am doing in this moment. All right? So my purpose right now is to be doing this live training. Okay? And so for me to feel abundant in this moment, I need to feel like I have access to all of the resources available for me in order to provide this broadcast. But the truth of the matter is, unlimited abundance is always available, even if the mind can't see it. All right? So now I want you to close your eyes and just tune into this truth. Unlimited abundance is always available, even if my mind can't see it. Now, please type in the comments how it made you feel to see yourself as limited in an area of your life. How did that make you feel? As if I believe my mind's evidence that I don't have access to all of the resources I need in this moment for whatever my purpose is in this moment, it makes me feel constricted, limited, uncomfortable, and scared. When I tune into the truth that unlimited abundance is infinitely and eternally available to me, even if my mind can't see it, I feel expansive, free, light, joyful, and secure. Now, those are two key words here. The very last word I use to describe how it makes me feel when I see myself as limited, fearful. The very last word I used there, I didn't do it on purpose, I just noticed it as it came out my mouth. The very last word that I used to describe myself as an access to unlimited abundance was secure. All right. So these are fundamental issues in our survival. And when we think about the chakra system, the energy centers that run along the spine, we start off with the root chakra at the base of the spine. It's a spinning vortex of energy. This spinning vortex of energy at the base of the spine. Ooh, I've got some comments here that I haven't seen before. Laura says, disconnected from the world, it made her feel uncomfortable and insecure. Exactly. That's the key point. Okay, so that was the last comment. Okay, and how did it make you feel, Laura, when you see yourself or when you hear the truth that you absolutely have access to unlimited abundance, even if your mind can't see it? Okay, so these spinning vortexes of energy that we have along the spine, the root chakra the base of the spine, the sacral chakra, the second center, which is the one we're going to be focusing on today, at the belly button area, the solar plexus around your midriff, your underneath your rib cage, above your belly button, in that band across there, contains your liver, your stomach, your spleen, your gallbladder, your solar plexus chakra, your heart chakra in the center of your chest, your throat chakra, your third eye in the center of your forehead, and your crown at the top of your head. Now, there's many other chakras, but these are the 7 main. They all relate to different areas of life, as well as different organs in your body and emotions that we feel. So the basal chakras are more concerned with your survival. They're more to do with your physical security and your physical world. And the higher the chakras go, they become more and more connected to your subtle realms and your creativity and your wisdom and your spiritual insight and your love and joy and freedom and harmony, etc. Now, these higher chakras don't need any work. Okay, what needs to be balanced is the first 3 chakras. The first 3 chakras, which are concerned with your survival and with your physical body and your physical world, these are the ones that get out of balance, and they're the ones that are the foundation for the higher chakras to sit on. So it's not that there's anything unbalanced about the higher chakras, but it's just that there's no secure foundation for them to sit on, which is what we talked about last week in the grounding training. Okay, is why it's so important to be grounded, because when you're grounded, everything else can flow because it's sitting on top of a secure foundation. Okay, it's like the saying goes, build your house on rocks, not sand. Okay, so if you haven't got grounding and you haven't addressed these lower chakras, which are concerned with your survival, then there's a shaky foundation, and that everything else that kind of manifests from there, it feels unsecure, unpermanent. Okay, and there's a fear around it. So it's really important to get these lower chakras in balance, because then you don't feel so fearful, insecure, and you feel more safe. Okay. So, where was I before I mentioned anything about those chakras? Probably something to do with survival and abundance. Okay, so it's our mind's job to protect us and keep us safe. This is one of the reasons why the mind is so busy, because it is a problem-solving tool and its job is to keep you alive. Okay, so this is why the mind becomes so busy, because it's trying to keep you alive and it's trying to keep you safe. So it's constantly on the lookout for problems. And one of the biggest problems it'll ever find is this perceived lack in your physical environment, that you don't have everything you need in order to survive, ultimately. And then what happens is, when the mind finds a problem, it gets extremely busy looking for solutions for you. Okay, so the mind is something which is there to serve us. We are aware beings that can choose to use the mind and pick it up and put it down like the tool that it is. It's a tool which can help us greatly. But what's happened in our society is we were never taught about the higher realms and our awareness, and we now become the servant of our mind. Okay, so this busy mind that's constantly on the lookout for problems and answers to those problems can tend to have a very negative focus, a very negative persuasion. It's the kind of default setting of the mind to look for what's wrong. And when we do that, then we can start living our life very much in the past and future. So we start to become fearful of the future, because we're basing what might happen in the future on what our mind has already experienced in the past. So if there was a belief in the past of not enoughness, that belief will be projected onto the future, and then there's a fear of not having enough in the future, and then the mind, the subconscious mind, always goes about looking for evidence to support your current beliefs. So this current belief that there's not enough and there won't be enough in the future, now the subconscious mind starts to go about looking for evidence to support that belief, and it'll find it. Okay? The cool thing to know is that your beliefs can be changed. And there are plenty of processes available. Mind detox is one of the best, where you can actually change your unhealthy beliefs and reprogram more helpful beliefs. And then your subconscious mind will then actually actively go out looking for evidence to support these new beliefs. Okay, so it can be changed. But this is the explanation as to why it seems like you're disconnected from abundance now. All right. Now, before I go any further, because I had not planned anything I was going to say this evening, so I did make a little list of things I want to cover. So I'm just going to check in with my list and make sure that I'm slightly on track so that I don't ramble on for an hour and not cover any of the points that I wanted to make, because we've got 2 meditations tonight on abundance to do as well. All right. So are you with me, and are you okay for time? Have you got any questions on anything I've mentioned so far? Okay, let's have a look. Oh, good. My Google Doc has disappeared. That's just fantastic. Never mind, we'll carry on. All right, so how do we go about changing these beliefs and also creating this abundance mindset? Okay, so the biggest thing, one of the most important things and most powerful practices I've ever found is gratitude. Okay, so this live stream broadcast tonight that's about abundance could have even been called gratitude. They're that intertwined. Okay, so what I want to introduce to you is the concept of gratitude. Now, I'm sure you've heard of gratitude before. You mentioned earlier in the comments that you haven't heard or you haven't read any much. Okay, I'm sure you've heard about gratitude many, many times. Okay, now if you were to get your notebook and a pen and start to write a list of all the things you're grateful for, that's a great start. Okay, because it starts to shift your awareness and your subconscious programming to look for things that you're already grateful for. When you start to notice all the things that you have in your life to be grateful for, it shifts your vibration so powerfully that it puts you in a high vibrational state. And wherever your energy frequency is vibrating at any given moment, you attract similar energy frequencies on that vibratory level. Okay. So gratitude is one of the quickest, fastest, and most powerful ways to change your vibrational state from a sense of lack and fear that I don't have what I need and it's not going to be there in the future, to I have so much abundance in my life right now and I'm so grateful for everything. And that sets you up for a vibration that is going to attract more things to be grateful for, and you're starting to train your subconscious mind to look for things to be grateful for as well. So when the new things to be grateful for come into your life, you're also more likely to notice them as well. All right. Now, this practice of gratitude is even scientifically proven. So you could finish this broad stream tonight, this broadcast, live stream, broadcast, whatever it's called, and you could go and Google gratitude and you could find scientific studies to back it up if you're so inclined. Personally, I'm not into science. It's for myself. Okay, so you can use yourself and your life as your own scientific experiment. You don't have to take anything I say. You can take some of it and practice it in your own life and notice the benefits for you. Okay, but if you're a person that likes science to back things up for you, then you will find plenty of evidence to support this fact that gratitude is one of the most powerful life-changing practices. So if you were to do something as simple as to write down 10 things you're grateful for every single day, that in itself would be enough to change your life. Okay, now I spent some time with a guy called Dr. David Hamilton. He came and gave a talk for us in Newbury about his new book, which came out a couple of years ago, and it was called The 5 Side Effects of Kindness. Now, David Hamilton is a scientist, and he spent decades of his career looking at the side effects of drugs. And then he started to think, what about publishing some evidence on the side effect of these powerful personal development practices? And so in his book, The 5 Side Effects of Kindness, that's exactly what he did. And one of the things he wrote about in there was, if you write a thank you letter to somebody, the effects that that has on your nervous and immune system last, I think it was up to 6 months. It may have been 6 weeks or 6 months, but that's how powerful this gratitude practice is. The act of handwriting or even typing a thank you letter to somebody and sending it to them has a positive effect on your nervous and immune systems that lasts for 6 weeks to 6 months. How profound is that? Okay. Now, I was hosting a weekend with the Ashaya monks at my house, and this very thing came up in one of the teachings that the monks gave. And then they basically said at the end of the weekend, every person here choose someone and send them a thank you letter this week. And I received a thank you card in the post, which was a handwritten thank you letter as well from one of the participants of the course. And it was just the personal touches that were included in this card. It was so touching and heartwarming. And that card is still up in our living room now. It's not coming down, and it's there as a daily reminder of how powerful this practice of gratitude is. Now, what I want to address this evening, because writing down 10 things that you're grateful for is a fantastic practice, and I would encourage you to do it every day for the rest of your life. However, that's manifestation, abundance training 101. All right. We're going a little bit deeper than that this evening, and we're taking it up a notch. What I really want to address this evening is starting to become grateful for challenges as well. All right. Now, I mentioned on one of the live streams a couple of days ago about being grateful for challenges as they're happening. I don't think we were talking about gratitude, but I was mentioning that you can start to see the reason why things are happening as they're happening rather than waiting for 6 months down the line to look back. Okay. So this practice of being grateful for challenges will change your vibration so fast out of a place of negativity and resistance and fear, because all of those emotions are major blocks to you knowing that you're abundant. It's not to say they stop abundance coming to you, which is the popular belief, but it's that they block abundance from your awareness, okay? Because abundance is all there is. All you need to do at any time to notice how abundant you already are is look at nature, write a gratitude list for all the things you already have. Could even be as simple as starting a gratitude list with, I am grateful that I have the eyes and the ears to watch this live broadcast, live stream. All right. I am grateful for the computer that I'm watching it on. I'm grateful for the air I'm breathing as I watch this. I'm grateful, and it goes on and on and on. Okay. Literally, I did one the other day. I started off in the morning. I was doing my journaling and I didn't really know what to say for this particular day. So I thought I'll just start with my gratitude. And it was like, I'm grateful for this journal. I'm grateful for the pen I'm writing it with. I'm grateful for the hand that I'm writing it with. I'm grateful for the mind that this awareness is coming through. I'm grateful for the coffee in my mug. I'm grateful for the filtered water that's made the coffee. I'm grateful for the mug that was gifted to me by one of the Ashayas. I'm grateful for, the bed, the bedroom, the house. I'm grateful for the day that's ahead of me, the job that I get to do, the people that I get to serve. I'm grateful for the clothes that I'll wear. I mean, it just went on and on and on. And afterwards, I cannot describe to you the high feeling that I got from that. And that was simply noticing everything that's always there. But when we're so focused on what we don't have at that moment, we don't see any of the other things that are around us. It's like a coin. There's two sides to every coin. I've talked about this in other things before, where I talk about how on one side you have a problem, and the moment a problem occurs in the universe, because of the law of yin and yang, it is impossible for a solution not to be created at the moment the problem arises. Okay, it's impossible. So if you have a problem in your life, the solution already exists. But if you're looking at the problem side of the coin, you'll never see the solution, because if you're looking at one side of the coin, you're not seeing the other. Okay, so all of this, all of these gratitude practices are flipping your awareness to stop looking at what's wrong, stop looking at what's lacking, stop looking at what you don't physically have in that moment, and to start looking at what you already do have, the abundance you already do have. And from there, you just flip into a different mode. You're seeing opportunities, you're seeing gifts within the challenges, and you start to become grateful for the challenges, which puts you into a receptive mode. It puts you in a high vibe energy of receiving now rather than blocking. Does that make sense to you? And do you have, Claire's on here as well. When did Claire join? Send me a comment. Do you have a journal anywhere near you right now? A piece of paper or a tissue, a pen, ideally your journal. Do you have it near you now? And if so, I want you to start writing down not only 10 things that you're grateful for, but 5 challenges that you currently face. They can be small things. They don't need to be huge challenges. They don't need to be childhood traumas, okay? But they can be things like road rage. Think about the things that really annoy you. What is it that bumps up against your feeling of peace and security and being in flow with this universal abundance? So I just want you to grab a journal for now, write down, so you can come back to this later. Write down on your journal, just say 10 things I'm grateful for, and then turn the page and then write 5 challenges I currently face. And then after this is finished, I want you to go back to your journal and I want you to start writing from a place of inquiring what it is about these situations or people that you find frustrating, why you feel frustrated, why is the situation happening, and just get really curious with it. Why is this even here? What is the lesson in this? And you can start to be grateful for the challenges as they're happening. Like I said, it's the quickest, fastest way to shift you into a high vibe, abundance, and receiving mode. Now, let me see if I can get my notes. Because I had a long list of things I want to cover tonight, and we got 2 meditations to do. So, any comments or questions so far? Excellent. Here's my list. All right. Noticing the abundance you already have, journaling, being grateful for something that's disturbing or upsetting you. Okay, so gratitude is the bedrock of the abundance mindset. These are all things that we've talked about this evening. Now, I want to talk a little bit about, we talked about how abundance is a mindset, okay? It's a universal, eternal truth, and it's also a mindset to be open to seeing that. So ultimately, abundance is a feeling. And the way to remain in this abundance awareness is practices like we've talked about already, but also being able to tune in to the feeling of abundance and to be able to feel abundant, even if the physical evidence around you is telling you something different. Okay? That is the key. Now, in order to get into that state of feeling abundant no matter what, there's a meditation practice and there's also a recognition. The recognition is that in this moment now, all needs are met. All needs are met right now. That is a fact. Okay? So you have the air that you need to breathe right now. You're supported by the chair you're sitting on, which seems to be supported by the ground beneath it. But ultimately, what is it that's holding you now? What is holding you now? It's not the chair and it's not the ground. It's something deeper, okay? In that eternal holding of the present moment, all your needs are met right now and will eternally be met. It's only when we leave this moment and start to think about what we might need tomorrow, which doesn't physically appear to be present today, then we start to believe in lack, okay? But the more that we can dwell in this fact that all your needs are eternally met right now, what does that feel like, first of all? All your needs are met right now. How does that feel? Tell me in the comments. How does it feel to know all needs are met? Because ultimately, that feeling, dwelling in that feeling, is what will make you feel abundant no matter what. No matter what seems to be happening, no matter what the physical evidence to the contrary may seem to be, it's that feeling, that knowing that all needs are met, that brings this sense of security and peace, safety. All right? Now, when we'd experience the present moment, sorry, my computer seems to be freezing a little bit. Okay, then we dwell in this infinite. Your natural state is infinite. So your natural state is you prior to thought. So if you can learn to experience the present moment directly without a thought about it, in that direct experiencing of now, there's no lack. So that's what I want us to practice now. Okay, so we're going to go into a meditation now, and it's going to be slightly different to the ones that we've done before, but it's going to bring in this present moment awareness and this direct experiencing of now. Okay, so I want you to bring your hands together and put them into what's called a mudra. So you bring your hands together, your right hand sits inside your left, your thumbs touch and your first fingers touch. So you're holding your hands like this, okay? And you hold your hands in this mudra over your root center. Okay, so whether you're sitting cross-legged or whether you're sitting tall in a chair, just bring your hands and sit them in front of the base of your spine. And hold that mudra there as we close our eyes. Hold this mudra until I tell you to change. Take your attention into the base of your spine. And with your focus in the base of your spine, just think, I am grounded. And then let it go. And notice the infinite, still silent space that's holding you now. And whenever you notice that your mind is wandering away from the awareness of the stillness of now, just bring your attention back to the base of your spine. Think, I am grounded, before letting it go and resting, letting go into the holding of the still, silent, infinite, abundant space. Now I want you to bring the mudra up, and I want you to hold the mudra in front of your belly button. So it's not touching your skin, it's slightly in front. You're holding the mudra in front of your belly button and keeping your attention in your belly button. Think, I am abundance. I am abundance. And then let go of the words and focus point. Float in the infinite sea of consciousness, the eternal still silent space, and directly experience yourself as abundance prior to thought. You are infinite, unlimited, and eternal abundance. It is impossible for you to not have everything you need right now. impossible because of what you are. Before letting it go and directly embodying yourself. Breathe into your belly button. Energize this energy center. Imagine a small flame in the center of this energy center, and each breath fans those flames until this tiny little flame becomes a roaring fire. I am abundance. And then let go of the visualization and the words and the focus point and just experience it. The pure abundance that is now, that is you, prior to thought. It simply is. You simply are. Taking a few deep breaths. Fanning those flames of abundance. Feeling the warmth. The glow, the light. Reawakening your awareness, your true nature. You are abundance. And then rest your palms face up in your lap. Keep your eyes closed. And I want to return you to something I mentioned at the beginning of this broadcast. I wanted you to bring to mind every person you've ever known. Such an abundance of people, impossible for you to think of every person you've ever known, but just the idea that we're bringing to mind every person that's ever crossed our path. And then I want you to think of every penny that's ever been spent on you, every penny that's ever been spent on you, every penny that you have ever spent. Every penny that's been spent in order to support your physical existence on this planet. And I want you to imagine that every single one of those pennies, after it was spent, went off out into the world and made as many friends, other pennies, as you have in your lifetime. All that abundance of people that have ever crossed your path or your awareness. Every penny that was ever spent on you has gone out into the world and made as many, if not more, friends in the forms of other pennies. And I want you to just think of the abundance of pennies that there are out there, gathered as a result of your existence. And I want you to think of yourself as a magnet in this moment now. And with your conscious awareness resting on the still silence, I want you to imagine that this still silent presence, infinite presence of you becomes magnetic. And it attracts back to you right now all of those pennies. All the pennies that were ever spent on you in your lifetime and all their friends are being called back now by the magnetic resonance of your still silent presence. And just sit and dwell in the infinite silence, knowing with certainty that you're calling it all back in now. And all of the love that was ever exchanged, whether your mind perceived it as loving or not, whether your mind was aware of the love that was pouring to you in every moment of your existence, all of the love that was exchanged, that was received and given, calling it all back to you now. Letting the still silent presence of you be the magnet. And the longer you sit in the silence, the more is drawn back to you like a magnet. And bring to mind all of the time and energy that you ever poured into any project on behalf of any person or any purpose. All that energy coming back to you now. As you sit in full awareness of the abundance that you are, that infinite cycle of energy being given and returned, now unblocked, forever unblocked, as all that was given returns to you now. So much money. You'd never have time to spend it all. So much love. You feel like you could burst. So much energy to fuel you, to live the life you were born to live, of freedom and joy and purpose. So much unlimited abundance. You now live from the overflow. You'll never run out. And then take a few deep breaths. Feel your entire body, and as you feel your entire body and you feel this sense of infinite abundance pouring through you eternally, press your finger and your thumb together and squeeze. Lock in this feeling of infinite abundance so that any time you forget, all you'll ever need to do is squeeze together your finger and thumb, and you will remember this sensation of unlimited abundance. The truth of who you are. And then taking a few deep breaths. Bringing your awareness to the base of your spine and your legs and your feet simultaneously. Noticing the holding of the chair and the floor. And in your own time, gently opening your eyes. Remaining gently alert with your attention wide open. All right. Let me know in the comments, how was that? And as a little final note on that, when you notice that you're forgetting and you're slipping back into old conditioned patterns of believing in lack or not perceiving the goodness and the abundance that's around you, using your practices like daily journaling and daily gratitude, and most important of all, gratitude for your challenges. All right, to shift your vibration back into this high vibe, receptive mode. And as I mentioned earlier, there's plenty of scientific evidence that supports the power of gratitude practices to change your life. All right, so if you're interested in the science, Google it and find out more. Okay, can't see any comments yet. Let me know how the meditation was for you. And if there's nothing, then we'll finish here. If we are complete. Are we complete? Let me know in the comments, yes or no. Are we complete? Do you have any questions? Any comments? Thank you so much for joining me tonight, guys. It's been an absolute joy. Catch the replay if you missed any of it, and I'll see you tomorrow. Ooh. Thanks, Claire. Found it super helpful. I'm so glad. Laura, sharp at the love we have received through life. Okay, that's okay. That's your resistance. Okay, mind's perceived resistance, because the love was always there. It just may not have been shown in the way that you needed. And so the mind has a resistance there. Okay, and then the mind's resistance will show up physically in the body as sensations and pain. Okay, so awareness is the first thing, the first key to melting it. So if you imagine any of these resistances or blocks in your body, imagine an iceberg. Okay, so these resistances to love, which have been there from such a young age, imagine we're not talking about ice cubes now, we're talking about icebergs of resistance, blocking our awareness of the love that we're always swimming in. Okay, and if you imagine that your awareness is like the sunlight, and so the more awareness that you turn towards this iceberg, eventually the warmth of the sun will melt the ice. Okay, but when sunlight melts an iceberg, it doesn't force it to melt. There's no time that we can say it should take. It just takes as long as it takes. But if the sun goes down or the clouds come across, then the iceberg will remain intact. So the key is to keep bringing our awareness to those places of resistance and to just hold those places of resistance in our unconditional awareness in the same way as an iceberg would be melted by the sun, and let it take the time it takes to gently melt. There's no force, no resistance, just awareness. Your awareness is love. And in this analogy, your awareness is like sunlight, and the warmth of it will melt the ice, the resistances. Make sense? Laura, don't know why I had that headache. Okay, I think that comment may have come before what I just said. So hopefully what I said made sense to you, and you can practice now with holding these physical sensations in your awareness and just unconditionally holding them with awareness and allowing them to melt in their own time. Okay. Anything else? Okay, if that is it, then thank you so much for joining me. Do watch the replay. And if you've got any questions in the meantime on anything, just contact me via Facebook Messenger, text message, in the group. All right. Thank you so much. Good night.